Many thanks for these introductory remarks, Joao Pedro. Let's continue with our second speaker. The idea on our program today is to present you some information about the Indian market, business opportunities, and also the support offer from the EU. So for this, we invited Joel Fernandes, Project Lead Europe of the Business Support to the EU-India Policy Dialogues Project. Welcome, Joel.
Thank you.
And yes, the floor is yours.
Muito obrigada, Nicoletta. Bom dia, namaste, and welcome to my presentation on India. Thank you very much for having me here this morning. The question today for the entire presentation and the event is, are you ready for India? And what you will hear today is, what are the opportunities and challenges for you as an EU SME or business looking at entering the Indian market, and how the EU can support you in your endeavor or in your entry to the Indian market. My name is Joel Fernandes, and I'm the project lead for the business support to the EU-India Policy Dialogues Project, which is an EU-funded project. To tell you a little bit about the business support to the EU-India Policy Dialogues project, this project was a direct outcome of the last EU-India strategy on India, which was adopted in 2018. And in 2019, we launched this project with the endeavor or aim to increase the business involvement in strategic areas of policy dialogues and cooperation between the EU and India. The sectorial focus between these policy dialogues are in the sectors of energy, environment, climate change, ICT, and urbanization. The project has a website, which is www.euindiabusinesssupport.eu. Most of the work done under the project can be found at this website, so I would encourage you to take a look at it post the webinar. There are 3 consortium partners for this project: GFA Consulting based in Hamburg, the European Business and Technology Center based in New Delhi, which is the implementation partner of this project in India, as well as with Eurochambers, which is the Association of Chambers of Commerce and Industry based in Brussels. And these are the 3 consortium partners that are managing this project. Now, why India, and why you should be looking at India in the next 5 years, in a 5-year horizon or the short term? Well, as of 2020, the GDP of India was around 2.5 trillion euros, and the government of India is planning to increase that to 5 trillion by 2025. So we do see a lot of infrastructural changes, policy changes in order to increase the GDP of the country. As of today, India is the 3rd largest economy in terms of GDP, in terms of purchasing power parity. In terms of population, we already know that India has a huge population of around 1.3 billion people, but by 2025, we are going to reach 1.5 billion in terms of population. We also have a very young population between the ages of 28 and 30. As of 2025, that's the median of 29 years is what all the agencies have pegged India to be. And we also, because of the population being large, we have a large consumer economy where we rank 3rd in terms of the consumer economy, even right now. So in 2025, we will still remain 3rd as to what most of the reports have come out with these numbers. In terms of a startup ecosystem, it's the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in the world. Just 2 months or a month ago, actually, we had a couple of unicorns that were launched in India. So that increased the number to 35 unicorns that are coming out from the different startups that are in India. And India is now 63rd out of 190 nations in the ease of doing report by the World Bank. So in the next 5 years, you will see that most of the reports that have come out showcase India in a forward or leaning trajectory for EU companies and international businesses to look at India. Given the fact that we are during a pandemic and we are making this presentation, I just wanted to share with you what the rating agencies or the ranking agencies have looked at India in terms of projections over the next 2 years. As you will see, we in India, we in 2019 and 20, we were around 4.2% GDP, and there was a drop in 2021. So this first quarter and the last quarters did see a drop in the GDP in terms of projections. But most of the ranking firms look at a very positive growth post the COVID situation. Of course, this report was done before the last, crisis or the present crisis, in terms of the variant, which is now hitting India in a big way. So these figures may change post the projections after this particular pandemic situation, which India is going through right now. So what is the support that the EU can offer to EU businesses that are looking at entering the Indian market? What we try to do is support you in your market entry, as well as what we try to do is support you while you are already in India. That's very important, because as an SME, entering the Indian market is one thing, but finding success in India can be also very challenging. So the EU supports you not only to enter India, but also while you are doing business in India, because we want you to succeed in India. So we have the European Excellence in India program, which is a task force of EU businesses that focus on clean technologies and sustainability across the value chains, and whereby we give them a lot of visibility through our projects, to the EU India funded projects, which I will talk to you a little bit about. We also give them visibility during our events that we do. There are joint tenders between the EU businesses that are already in India that can collaborate. We have different clusters that we have set up so that EU businesses that are already in India can collaborate with other EU businesses in India and win certain tenders and projects in India. We also have the India Readiness Toolkit, which I will share more information about in the next few slides, talking to you about how do you prepare yourself before you enter the Indian market. So it's a self-diagnostic tool to check whether you are actually ready for India. We have also the European Technology and Engagement Cell, which is more of a platform which is linked to one of the India water projects, where you can actually showcase your technologies in advance to an Indian audience, where they can see what your product or technologies are in advance of you entering the Indian market. We also feel that finance and money is a big challenge for SMEs, because they have, a very, when they're planning to enter India in the Indian market, you need to think long term. And sometimes finance can be a big challenge. So we have the European Finance Group. We also have the EU India Corporate Forum, Finance Forum that we have set up so that we can support SMEs on how to raise capital in India by funding them in terms of entering the Indian market. And finally, it's very, like I mentioned to you, we also support EU businesses in India. So we have the European Economic Group, which is more involved with policy advocacy, whereby we have these companies talk to their bilateral chambers of commerce. And the European Economic Group is a group of chambers of commerce that are in India, the EU chambers, whereby we group every 2 months, and we understand what are those market challenges faced by the EU companies in India. And we try to submit a submission to the Indian government on the challenges faced by EU companies in India, so we can do some kind of advocacy for them to mitigate the challenges that these companies could face in India. Now, I'll move to the next part of my presentation, which is talking about the opportunities in India for EU businesses. Just to give you a little snapshot of where we are in trade and investment in terms of numbers, as you will see, India and the EU in terms of trade, the EU is India's largest trading partner, with over 100 billion euros in terms of goods and services in terms of trade. It's also one of the largest investors in terms of FDI outflow. So 22% of total FDI inflows into India comes from the EU. But more importantly than these numbers, what we see is that the EU and India are natural partners. If you look at the current situation going on in India with the pandemic, I think the EU has really stepped up its game in terms of its relationship with India by supporting India at this very crucial time. So if you have been reading, there are several member states that have come forward to support India in supporting it with oxygen cylinders and medication. So there's a lot that the EU is doing in India over and above trade and investment. Where are these opportunities for you as an EU business to enter India? So what we've tried to do with the EU and India is that the EU has set up certain projects, which are EU funded projects, to support EU businesses to enter the Indian market. If you come as a company from Portugal or from anywhere in the EU and you come to India, it's very important that you find success in India. So what the EU did is already create certain projects where we can put you and make you join these projects. So that way you are already entering the Indian market with a project in hand, and you can do business in India. It will be easier for you to do business in India. So the first project is the Clean Energy and Climate Partnership Project. I'm also the key expert for this particular EU-India funded project, which is also part of Eurochambers, which is a consortium partner in this particular project. What we try to do is focus on the renewable energy sector. The EU has very good and innovative technologies in the renewable energy sector. And those are the kind of companies that we want to bring to India, whether it is solar energy, whether it is smart grid, whether it's hydrogen. There are real-time opportunities under the EU-India Clean Energy and Climate Partnership Project, which are available. And we would like for you, in case you are a company in this particular sector, to contact us, and we'll put you in touch with the consortium of EU and Indian companies that are working in this particular project, and you can join them. So what happens with SMEs, you might have one part of the entire solution that can be offered. And what we try to do is plug you into this consortium of EU and Indian businesses under a project where you can get into that project and do business in India on that particular project. Similarly, in the water sector, we have the India-EU Water Partnership that focuses on supporting India in terms of cleaning its rivers, in terms of water sanitation, in terms of water monitoring. There are different projects under the EU-India Water Partnership that is required currently in India, as water is really scarce. So we are looking at potable water solutions, we are looking at water monitoring solutions, wastewater treatment. So these are the kind of solutions and technologies from the EU that we are trying to bring to India and work with the EU-India Water Partnership. Similarly, in terms of ICT standardization, we're talking about artificial intelligence, 5G, data privacy. Companies in the EU have these kind of solutions and technologies which India really wants. And this is the opportune time, because these projects are funded by the European Union, where we ensure that all of the companies in these consortiums are from the EU only, because India is also looking at the EU for certain solutions. And these are the reasons why the EU and India have these joint declarations, which we call policy dialogues. The India-EU Urban Partnership is focusing on smart cities in India. India is trying to create 100 smart cities, as you all know, and most of you may know. And the EU-India Urban Partnership is looking out for intelligent transport systems, e-mobility, electric mobility, that is. We are looking at how do we create our, terms of smart parking. There are different solutions that India is looking out for in the next few years. And that's what we are looking out for. We've also got an EU-India Twinning City Initiative, and the city of Porto is twinned with one of the cities in India, so that the solutions from the city of Porto in Portugal can be used in one of the cities in India. So these are the kind of relationships, these are the kind of projects that we have under the EU-India Urban Partnership. And then finally, as resources are scaling down, or there is a deficiency in resources in India in terms of natural resources, we have the Resource Efficiency Initiative that the EU can guide India in terms of managing its natural resources. So these are the 5 projects that we have in India. If in case you are a company and you are listening to this webinar and from Portugal or from anywhere in the EU, do contact us. We'll be very happy to have your company join one of these projects. To go ahead in terms of the opportunities in India, as I mentioned to you earlier, the ease of doing business in India has, of course, drastically changed. If you look at the slide, you will see from 130, just 5 years ago, we are at 63 as of 2020. So there has been a gradual but yet constant increase in terms of ranking in betterment, in terms of betterment for India. So there's a lot of policy regulations which have changed for the better. Most of the companies that we used to support earlier used to say India is a very challenging market. There's a lot of corruption in India. So what the government has done is made everything digital. It's created regulations and policies to ensure that investments from international investments or foreign investments are easier for you as a company to do business in India. In other rankings, in terms of innovation, India is also now an innovation hub for most of these technology clusters that we have set up in India. These are clusters which are mostly into agri-tech, deep tech, water tech. There are a lot of clusters that are already existing in India where the EU companies can work and do business in India. To talk about a little bit about the newer markets or the newer sectors, the fintech industry is doing extremely well in India. Like I said, most people say, you know, when you come to India, you'll see everyone, almost everyone, with a smartphone. So most of the fintech payment platforms are doing extremely well in India. And a lot of the EU businesses in the fintech industry are already in India and doing pretty well for themselves. In terms of floating solar, this is another clean technology area where there is an opportunity for a 300 gigawatt solar floating panel opportunity or system that India is looking out for. So if in case you are a company in the solar sector, do contact us. We can plug you in directly into the Clean Energy and Climate Partnership Project, which is focusing on floating solar as well. The rest of the statistics, you will get the slides, so you can go into more detail. In terms of the ICT sector, as you all know, most of the Indians work in the ICT sector all across the world. In India itself, we are the second largest exporter of ICT services. And what our Prime Minister says, I would like to share with you the quote which I put here on my slide, which talks to you about the 4D approach, which is democracy. India is one of the largest democracies in the world. We have a demography of a very young population. There is a huge demand because of the population being so huge, and we have a rising middle class. So when you have a rising middle class, there is a huge consumption that people would like to buy the latest gadgets, the latest smartphone, the latest cars, the newest technologies. As well as we have a very diverse population, whether it is religion, whether it's language, whether, you know, so we have a huge diversity as well in the country, whereby even as a company, you might want to tap into or bring your technologies or solutions and your business to enter this market and scale. Finally, in terms of food processing, this is a newer sector which is doing extremely well in India. It's also a food packaging hub, I would call it, or a food processing hub now with India. India is doing extremely well in exporting food all across the globe. But in terms of food processing, there are a lot of Italian companies and EU businesses that are now looking at India in a big way. So if in case you are a Portuguese company, again, in the food processing India, there is a huge opportunity for you. With that, I would like to share with you a video which will be played right now, just to recap on the opportunities in India for you. Now I will come to the last part of my presentation, which focuses on the India Readiness Kit. So now that you've seen the opportunities in India, let's get you ready for India. So what we try to do is create a diagnostic tool. We worked with a lot of chambers of commerce, thanks to Euro Chambers and its network, where we checked with the chambers of commerce what exactly their businesses face when they come to India. What are those challenges they need to know in advance before coming to India? And we created a quiz, which is a 30-minute quiz that allows you to check whether you are ready for India. And I'll talk to you a little more about this quiz. So it is a diagnostic tool that focuses on several modules that I will share with you about. But what we try to do is make it a fun way of learning. So when you take this quiz, you will get the right answer on what you should be doing. In case you get the wrong answer, you've put in the wrong answer. We also try to make sure that you evaluate yourself to see whether you are 40% ready, 80% ready, or 100% ready for India. So it gives you a little evaluation, as well as what would be the best practices that you need to do in advance. So the module has an assessment, an evaluation, and a learn part of the module. We focus on 5 modules. A general business module, talking about what is the cultural norms in doing business in India. So how you do business in Europe is very different from how you do business with Indians and in India. There is a relationship approach, which is very important. There's a trust approach, which is also very important. So these little, tricks, I would call it, a little trick of the trade, is very important for you to know in advance to entering India. How do you raise finance and capital in India? What are the areas that you can reach out to? Which are the people that you can contact in terms of the EU, in terms of finding money or finding finance in India? How do you hire people in India? How do you create your teams? Where do you approach consultants in terms of hiring people in India? What are the labor laws in India? So we have a people module that will talk about employment and HR and human resources. And then we have a product module talking about labeling. It talks about how do you export your product to India? What are the landing costs and what are the taxes that you need to know? And then finally, the IPR session, which Nicoletta and Hannah will talk to you more about through the India IP SME Helpdesk. But under the module as well, under the India Readiness Kit, we have a few questions that you can answer in terms of just to make sure that you know what are those regulations in setting up your patent in India or your trademark in India or your copyright in India. What are those things you need to know in advance before you come to India? Because if you are an EU SME and you come to India, you will get overwhelmed with all the necessary rules and regulations and laws. So we try to keep you ready in advance before you enter the Indian market. With that, I would like to show you a final video on the India Readiness Kit and how you can access the India Readiness Kit through the website of the EU-India Policy Dialogues project. So while you have seen as to how you can use the website to come to the project, what you will see as the landing page is over here. We ask you for very basic information. Please remember that all the information collected is as per GDPR guidelines. So we ask you to just enter the name of your company as well as your name. You can be anonymous and also take this quiz in advance to prepare, to just check whether you are ready for India. So just to give you an understanding, if you are looking at taking this quiz as a EU SME, we have different modules I told you about. What you do is you have few options that you can click on where you feel which is the right answer, and you keep taking the quiz. I will go very quickly over the next few slides because I don't want to go overboard in terms of my time for presentation. But when you take the quiz, you will have enough time to take a look and see what are those questions that are relevant for you, whether you are allowed to sell your goods in India, and how do you plan to enter the Indian market, whether you have already contacted your Chamber of Commerce, or whether you have any other plans in mind, and then they will give you the right answer as well. We all have a business quiz that focuses on what are the language geographies in India, the things like that. So it's a very fun way of learning. Now, at the end of taking the quiz, you will get a score. That does not mean that the score is, it will just give you an understanding or an indication as to where you are. And you will also get a report that will come to you by email. So when I was taking this quiz to make the presentation, I made sure I failed, so that way you get to see how we have supported you in terms of the right answers. In case you take the quiz, you will also get a best practice. So when you take the quiz, it's very important for you to learn from taking the quiz. So we'll give you the best practices that you need to follow before you enter the Indian market. It's a color-coded ranking of your responses, whether you're correct, you're wrong, or not quite right. So we give you a lot of leeway to take as to see where you are in entering the Indian market. And then again, you will get a drop down like this that you can see where you are. And then when you click on the plus sign, you will be able to get more information. With that, I wanted to share with you on the India Readiness Kit. And then finally, at the end of my presentation now, I would encourage you to take a look at our website, the EU India Business Support.eu website. You'll get all the information on the work that we are doing, as well as on the future activities of the program, of the project. And do follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. We have a lot of activities that we post out there. And then finally, in case you are interested in joining us in terms of some of our activities, well, on the 5th, which is literally tomorrow, we have this second EU Urban Forum focusing on smart cities that are created in India. If in case you would need more information, you're more than welcome to contact the Chamber of Commerce in Portugal, where we will share more information on, or you can contact me at my email address, which I will share with you a little later on. And of course, with regards to the EU-India Leaders Summit, we are working very closely with the Indian government as well as with the EU in terms of those discussions. We will be doing something post the summit as well. And of course, you are more than welcome to join us at our other activities. In case you need to contact me, my email address is fernandes@ebtc.eu. Thank you very much for having me here. And I will hand it over now to Nicoletta.